What is up, everyone? This right here is a review that I'm very excited about because many of you well know I am a huge fan of Mike Flanagan's work, and I think at this point I have to say especially his series work with Netflix between The Haunting of Hill House, Bly Manor, and also Midnight Mass. So this right here is a review of his latest in that department. It is a review of Netflix's The Midnight Club. Before jumping into the details, a brief synopsis for you. Based on the Christopher Pike book and also some other pieces of his work, the Midnight Club unfolds at a place called Brightcliffe. Brightcliffe is a hospice for terminally ill young adults, and we're introduced to that location and the ensemble within it via the newest Brightcliffe resident, Ilonka, played by Iman Benson. Soon after moving in, Ilonka comes to learn that the other residents are members of a late-night club, the Midnight Club, a group that meets and tells scary stories and also has a very important pact. The first of them to die has to send a signal back to the others from beyond the grave. I love this show so much. Per usual here, Flanagan delivers a horror-fueled ensemble piece with great scares, deeply moving storytelling that will guarantee the show sticks with you well after it wraps up, and also a stellar cast of characters that make it absolutely impossible to pick a single favorite character. In fact, I am going to have to recognize every single member of the Midnight Club's young ensemble right now because they really are all fantastic in this show. Every single character in it has something unique and meaningful to offer the overall narrative, and I also have a very good feeling you are going to be hearing these actors' names a lot moving forward. I will kick things off with Benson as Ilonka because she does make up a considerable amount of the heart and the driving force of the series, and Benson really is a rock-solid centerpiece here, or rather a binding force that brings everything going on in the series together. And another thing that I really appreciated about the performance and the way the character is written in general is how well Ilonka is presented as a smart, or rather bright young woman, someone you really think does have a chance, a fighting chance of figuring things out, but also someone who's very capable of making very human mistakes. And that right there is really the ultimate real-world balance, and it's something that proves especially important to a lot of the characters in the show, but especially to Ilonka's, and Benson just really does have the ability to cover that range and those qualities with maximum heart, conviction, and just really gets you fully invested in every single choice she makes. I am going to keep things a little broader with some of the other characters here because, of course, this is a non-spoiler review of the Midnight Club, and I don't want to get anywhere close to ruining any of the story for you. Igby Rigney, who you might remember from Midnight Mass, he absolutely nails Kevin's quiet sensitivity. He's got this really calming and grounding presence throughout the entire show, but then also winds up in a fairly complex situation that's focused on quite heavily in the tail end of it, and just his ability to convey internal struggle so strongly is especially impressive in that portion of the story. Sticking with actors who you will recognize from Midnight Mass, Annarah Cymone also delivers quite big in The Midnight Club. Her character, Sandra, is often dealing with being the only very religious member of the Midnight Club, and it is especially satisfying watching her assess and reassess what that means to her and also how it impacts those around her. And I guess more broadly on that point, that's something that I think the Midnight Club tends to explore extremely effectively overall. This idea of different characters finding, or at least trying to find, comfort and hope in different places. And in storytelling too, for that matter, but more on that later in this review. I will move on to Sauriyan Sapkota next, and I'll just say that he is a damn ray of light as Amesh in this show. Whenever Amesh would walk into a scene, I would just have a huge smile on my face, simply because I really enjoyed his presence and his energy just so much. There's also Furukawa, who plays Natsuki, a character who just radiates respect, love, and warmth for those around her, but who's also quietly exploring some darker thoughts as the season progresses. And Furukawa just does a really beautiful job delivering a very profound exploration of that headspace, and she does it so tenderly. Chris Sumpter now is just an absolute powerhouse as Spence. He's got a hugely charming energy and confidence in that role, and, just like the other characters, the show does tug at the heartstrings quite effectively by showing cracks either form or grow larger in their initial composure. That right there is true of every single member of the Midnight Club, given what they're going through, but there's something about Sumpter's light as Spence in particular that's really, it makes it especially hard to watch that light dim at times. His performance was really wonderful. I'll move on to Adia next, to play Cherie, and with her, I'll admit at the start, she's probably the character that I was least expecting to fall in love with as much as I did by the end of the season. All the roles in this show are very, very important, but with this one in particular, it felt to me like it called for pitch perfect casting, or just like nothing else. It wouldn't have worked otherwise, and man, does Adia just absolutely nail this character. Just the right amount and type of screen presence, and really pitch perfect line delivery. I was so impressed by her. Now, I save Ruth Codd as last here because her work as Anya is exceptional here, and I think will likely be viewed as a major, major find for Flanagan and the casting team. Midnight Club actually marks her first professional screen credit, and I'm still having a very hard time wrapping my head around that fact. She's just so damn good in the show. Every single member of the Midnight Club has a very strong degree of warmth and sensitivity in episode 1, but not Anya. She is bitter, has absolutely no filter, and she can be flat out mean to the others. Codd's ability to take all of that, never make any excuses for Anya's behavior, but also never let you forget how what she's gone through, what she's going through right now, and what lies ahead, how all of that has shaped her to become this particular person. And her ability to juggle all of that on her first professional project, for that matter, is really astounding. And I'll also throw out that one of the Midnight Club stories that's told that wound up being one of my favorite of the show, it's Anya's. So she was a major standout for me. And speaking of the stories now, a big reason why the Midnight Club really hit just so hard for me is because it highlights why I actually appreciate genre storytelling so much and why it's a deep passion of mine. In fact, you've probably heard me say something like this at some point. Sometimes I find real world truths easier to process through scary stories or, any type of storytelling for that matter, but you all know how much I love horror. I love how it can help process feelings, how it can facilitate expressing challenging feelings to other people, maybe how it can help a teller or a viewer get a taste of something they'll never really get to experience for themselves. The possibilities are truly endless here, and the Midnight Club, I think, well reflects that. Really, it just feels to me like one big love letter to the power of storytelling, and a show with that at its core is always going to win me over, and here it's just especially well done. So I am going to score the Midnight Club, and I am giving it 4.5 Deweys out of 5 on the Dewey Decimovie scale. Probably no surprise with the sky-high score there. Mike Flanagan has just spoiled me again. With films too, of course, but his series collaborations with Netflix are just next-level stuff, and at this point have resulted in 4 exceptional stories. Just like Hill House, Bly Manor, and Midnight Mass, Midnight Club has a big old foot in the horror genre, but it never prioritizes those horror elements over character. Rather, it uses them to enhance the characters' arcs and offer deeper access into their experiences, and that's a big reason why I think these pieces are so strong. And again, Flanagan does that quite well with all of the shows we've seen thus far, but given the fact that Midnight Club is flat out a series about a group of kids essentially trying to understand and cope via genre storytelling, that just gave this one an extra special spark to me. I can't say enough about this show. I absolutely adore it, and I cannot wait to watch it over and over and obsess over every single detail. All right, I will leave you there with this, but you know the game I like to play, and I have to do it here, even though I told you this was impossible. I want you to watch Midnight Club and then hit the comment section below and tell me your favorite member of the club. I think at this point I'd probably have to lean Anya, with an extra special shout out to Cherie, but I don't know, it depends what day you ask me. I love them all so much. Before I say goodbye, we got some Patreon shout outs that are owed to a top tier group of members here. They are Luke, Ian, Billy, Neil, Patrick, and Matthew. A very special review right here goes out to a very special group of people. You are longtime members of the Slack community that I appreciate so much. Thank you for being here, for supporting me, but also for being such a strong part of that community. It means the world. Big thanks to everybody out there for watching this review. Stay tuned. More on the way very soon.